One of the most vaunted elements in BioShock, and how you get the currency, known as Adam, that you use to buy things like plasmids and gene tonics, is through the game's moral choice thing. Strolling through the streets of Rapture are little girl-like creatures called Little Sisters. They are uniquely able to extract Adam from corpses, which makes them a precious commodity for all splicers, including you. But to get at the Little Sisters, you must first go through the Big Daddies. The Big Daddies are huge, awesome-looking guys in old-style underwater gear who carry massive guns and sometimes have gigantic drill bits for arms. They are neutral characters, attacking no one unless they're attacked first, or unless the Little Sisters are threatened. This means you can just totally ignore them if you want, or perhaps put off fighting them until you're better prepared, as they are by far the most difficult enemies in the game. The presence of neutral characters in BioShock has received strong praise for some reason, but it's nothing new or particularly impressive. Games like Grand Theft Auto have had neutral characters that can turn aggressive since 1997 in the form of police officers, and FPS games have been using the idea for at least a decade, with Kingpin being one example. But that doesn't mean they aren't special. The Big Daddies can at times be genuinely tough to take down, requiring planning and strategy, and their mere appearance alone is ridiculously cool. When you do take one down, you get to have at the Little Sister. These Little Sisters are human bodies inhabited by sea slug things. After capturing them, you can kill them, which gives you more Adam, or you can save them, which gives you less Adam initially, but a greater benefit in the long term. And that highlights the most immediate problem with the moral choice. By offering rewards, the game undermines the question of morality. You aren't asking yourself if it's immoral to kill a little sea slug girl in a computer game. You're asking yourself which ending you want, the good ending or the bad ending, or which reward you want, more Adam or less Adam, with the greater reward eventually. A lot of people I know, and perhaps most people in general, will play the game through making one set of decisions, and then play the game through making the other set of decisions. And while this is good in games like Mass Effect or The Witcher, where your choices affect the story as it unfolds, BioShock is a straight line all the way to the end, where you get one of two ending cutscenes. The other you can of course just watch on YouTube. The question of morality never enters into it, no matter how bug-eyed and adorable the little girls are. And the fact that you're rewarded either way, and that while not identical, the rewards are comparable, is ridiculous. It's like a judge awarding you with a house for killing someone, or awarding you with a boat for not killing someone. When the sole impetus of the moral act is the reward, the question isn't, should I kill this person or not kill this person? It's, do I want a house, or do I want a boat? And while this may not be a matter of morality per se, the fact that every Little Sister is the same as the last, and these characters, which are in truth 2D concepts, they have no actual character, are so undeveloped, means we can never get to know them or come to care for them, trivializing the act of killing them. How are they any different to the enemies, besides the fact that they're little girls? The enemies, the splicers, could be considered just as much victims as the Little Sisters. And so it's a choice that you have to make about a dozen times. It's the exact same thing every time you get hold of a Little Sister, where there are absolutely no consequences that killing someone will carry in the real world, and where you're rewarded with a unique, pleasant, desirable experience, regardless of your choice. I've asked all my friends how they played the game, and the answers confirmed what I already suspected. Most people prefer to play evil characters in games, because it's fun, and that's what computer games are, escapist fun. The very idea of a meaningful moral choice is at odds with the fundamentals of conventional computer game design. If you want to play a game that actually has an interesting take on morality, check out Lose Lose. It's a game where aliens are created based on random files on your computer. If you kill an alien, the corresponding file is permanently deleted. If you die yourself, the game files are deleted. There's more to it, but that's the basic idea. I'm not saying that this is a good game, or that it's something games should be doing, but Lose Lose actually addresses the topic of morality in interesting ways, and makes us ask questions about ourselves, while BioShock simply makes us ask what ending we want to see, and morality be damned. BioShock's alleged moral choice is a choice that you make that has no serious consequences, that results in outcomes that are all desirable to the player, that distracts you from the very issue of morality with its rewards, and that uses bug-eyed little girls, the embodiment of innocence, rather than, say, fat sweaty bus drivers in their 50s with porn mags stuffed into the back pocket of their elastic waist trousers, in an exceptionally weak attempt to manipulate your emotions. It's one of BioShock's most praised, or at least most talked about elements, and yet it adds nothing of value to the game whatsoever. I'm a big fan of games that use symbolism and allusion to tell their stories. I've strongly praised games like Half-Life and Silent Hill 2 in the past for doing just that. But the way BioShock alludes to philosophical and religious elements is a lot like Family Guy's jokes after Season 4, when it went to shit. Family Guy used to be a show full of jokes and stuff, but around Season 5, most of the gags turned into jokeless pop culture references. You didn't laugh at the joke, which was absent. You laughed, if you laughed, I didn't, because you got the pop culture reference. And that's exactly how BioShock works. The reference is there, but the joke isn't. For instance, the game is filled with Christian and pre-Christian religious imagery. Adam, Eve, Rapture, and Lazarus are all central elements in the game, while there are places called Olympus Heights, Apollo Square, and Point Prometheus. Is this somehow a stab by Ryan at the religions he decries as an objectivist? Is it Ryan's attempt to co-opt these terms for his own use, to change their meaning and rewrite the myth in popular opinion? Is it an allusion to the godly powers humans now possess thanks to the plasmids? Or is it just a bunch of stuff the developers think is cool? BioShock has the reference alright, but not the joke, and because of this, it's impossible to draw any real conclusions from the game. And, like Family Guy after Season 4, some people will still laugh at the reference when they see them. But without the joke, the references have no deeper meaning. And there are further examples. The masks many of the splicers wear, for instance. A great disaster happened at New Year's Eve, with many of Rapture's citizens attending a fete at the time, and because of this, they were wearing masks. When you arrive some years later, many of them are still wearing masks, probably to cover their hideous deformities as a result of splicing too much. These masks are shaped like butterflies, rabbits, and cats, amongst other things. The butterfly symbolises change, so maybe this is meant to allude to the changes they've gone through as a result of their splicing. Butterflies also symbolise death, so maybe this is meant to represent the death of Rapture and its society. Cats and rabbits can be seen to individually represent death and life respectively, while together this may be a nod to Alice in Wonderland, with Rapture working as a reflection of Wonderland. But these things are left so completely unexplained that if you do go searching for meaning in the symbolism, you end up at a dead end. Again, the reference is there, but not the joke that gives it meaning. But the biggest question is, overall, what is the game actually saying? In Ken Levine's words, it's a cautionary tale about wholesale, unquestioning belief in something. But what is the wholesale, unquestioning belief in BioShock? It can't be the belief in the objectivist philosophy. Rapture itself is not a true objectivist state, with one of the most notably anti-objectivist people being Andrew Ryan himself. Ryan's greatest crime against the philosophy may be that he pumps pheromones into the air to control people, eliminating their ability to pursue their own happiness and rational self-interest, a tenet of objectivism. Ryan also tortured people he considered to be criminals, which is not in line with objectivism at all. At some point, he clearly abandoned the reasons he had for founding Rapture and became a tyrant. While on the one hand, the city has a completely open and unfettered economy, as evidenced by the vending machines selling guns and ammo, one of the few ways BioShock's philosophical allusion is actually well used. On the other hand, religion plays a role in the lives of its citizens, with the Saturnine cult and the Christian religion being practiced by many. Clearly, some or all of the citizens of Rapture didn't believe in the objectivist philosophy either. Rapture was never a truly objectivist state, so it was patently not wholesale, unquestioning belief in that philosophy that led to the city's downfall. And yet BioShock is, in the words of its creator, a cautionary tale about the wholesale, unquestioning belief in something. The key word in that quote is something, because that something is wholly unrelated to the actual philosophical and religious allusions seen in BioShock. That something is probably just an underwater city-state, or a city-state with a tyrant ruler, or a city-state ruled entirely by men, as all the insane power-mad characters are male, or a city-state with science gone mad. What it is doesn't really matter, I guess. Ken Levine didn't bother to specify what that something is, if it was ever something at all. So I see nothing special in the way BioShock has used philosophical and religious allusion. The game is filled with lots of ideas that don't seem to go anywhere, and it seems like it's saying something grand, but ultimately it isn't. And eventually it seems that what the game actually is saying is almost wholly unrelated to the actual philosophical elements people praise so highly.